Anyone who engages with the community around Adventure Time probably knows that the first few episodes of Season 6 are pretty controversial. Of course, I'm talking about the time when Finn lost his arm, an event the series had been foreshadowing for quite some time, only for him to get it back within a few episodes. This disappointed a lot of people. It was seen as a cop-out, a return to the status quo. As the title of the video may have clued you in, I have a different opinion on this, and I'd like to make it clear that I'm not trying to tell anyone who criticized the arc that they're wrong. I just want to throw my hat into the ring and see if I can change a few minds. So, here we go. This arc takes place over the course of 5 episodes, but only 3 of them are really important to the arc. And let me tell you, there's a lot more going on in these episodes than just Finn loses his arm, then he gets it back. First, let's look at how exactly Finn lost his arm. Finn went to the Citadel looking for his biological father. When he finds him, Martin doesn't live up to Finn's expectations and tries to bail, and Finn, in an attempt to keep his father from leaving him again, loses his arm. All you have to do is describe the context, and it's obvious there's a lot to unpack here. What Finn's going through is not purely physical, because when Martin left, he took a part of Finn with him, literally and figuratively. But when people watch the episode, they tend to focus on the tangible details, while the show focuses more on the symbolism. We see this in The Tower, the next episode to acknowledge Finn's condition. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that the episode doesn't really focus on Finn's arm that much. Instead, the focus is on Finn's lingering resentment towards his father.
Thanks a lot, Dad!
At its core, this episode is about anger, and about dealing with anger. Finn's telekinetic arm represents his anger. And the way the arm temporarily replaces Finn's old arm represents how Finn's anger temporarily fills the void left by his father. At the end of the episode, Finn learns that getting his revenge isn't going to make him feel any better, and getting over this anger allows Finn to progress to the next stage of his journey. Which brings us to Breezy, probably the most contentious episode in the entire series. So in this episode, we can see that Finn's anger has transitioned into depression. He says he doesn't feel anything anymore, and he spends the whole episode just trying to be happy. At the end of the episode, his new friend, Breezy the Bee, helps him recover from this depression, by finally reminding him of the happiness and love he's felt devoid of since his father abandoned him. It's really all there in the song if you pay attention to the lyrics. He finally accepts what happened to him and shows a willingness to move on, and because the loss of his arm was symbolic of what his father took away from him, when he gets back what he lost, his arm comes back too. This story was never really about Finn's arm. It was about Finn. The description you just heard was really hard to write, because they portrayed this arc with animation, music, and characters, and I'm trying to describe it with just words. Really, you should just go rewatch the episodes, so that you can feel it rather than just vaguely understand it. I mean, obviously, anyone who watched these episodes would see that there's more going on than just Finn loses his arm, then he gets it back. Maybe they wouldn't fully understand it at first, but they'd at least come away thinking, there's a lot of interesting things here that I have yet to fully understand. I mean, obviously, no one could watch it, completely miss all the subtext and symbolism, and come out saying, I can't believe they just gave him his arm back for no reason. Obviously, nobody would ever do that. And if you understood what was happening and you still didn't like it, that's fine. In fact, I'm interested to hear your opinions. But too often, I see people criticizing the arc without really knowing what the arc was, completely ignoring all the depth and focusing only on what was visually apparent, as if they were watching it on mute or something. But I digress. To try and make this video at least somewhat relevant, let's fast forward to the present, where the episode Abstract is in a very similar situation. Some people have been giving this episode a hard time for how quickly it resolved the Blue Jake arc. But at the risk of sounding repetitive, there's so much more in this episode than just, Jake's back to normal now. I'll probably go deeper into Abstract in another video, but for now I'll just leave it at this. If you didn't like the episode, maybe give it another watch. You might find there's more to it than you first thought.